like glowing. If you're getting them, I'm getting them.
Hey, hello, and welcome to Bookish Life.
I'm Jess.
And I'm Tori. And in today's episode, we're going to talk about our romance reading journey. So we asked Jess asked on her Instagram of topics that you guys wanted us to talk about. And someone said this one.
There were a couple. That's why I was like, why don't we do this one?
Oh, some people said like this multiple times. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. You want to start?
Well, and I don't know if I know the answer. I know what book got you into romance, but were you always a reader?
No.
Okay.
I hated reading.
Okay.
Like, reading
Which
comprehension.
is so funny.
Reading comprehension was like in like English in school was the only grade I ever got a C in.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, like I did so bad because I didn't like what I was reading. Like I had to be interested to like comprehend it and like, state testing stuff. And
Yeah, fair.
it's just like stupid passages. I'm like, I'm not going to fucking remember this. This is stupid.
So it's interesting that you're someone who like a hyped romance book got you into reading, which is really cool.
Yeah. Like my friends at the time in high school were like, you have to read this. And I was like, dude, I don't read. They're like, no, you're going to read this. You're going to love it.
I wonder
Okay.
if they can guess. Let us know in the comments if you're on YouTube, if you know what book got Tori into reading in 2010, 2009?
No, 2009.
Okay.
2008, 2009.
In high school.
That was my freshman year.
Okay.
Because that was when, this is going to like spoil it, but like that was when the first movie was coming out because it came out in 2009.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You want to say?
It was Twilight.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like I've probably read books. I remember like getting some from the library that I liked like when I lived in Louisiana.
Yeah.
But I don't remember what books those were. They were like the Judy Blume, those type of books. But I don't remember the title. But I never was like a big reader. My parents are not big readers either.
I mean, and that's fair. I was a huge reader because my mom was a huge reader. And now I actually discovered Twilight in middle school. Before, like way before the movies came out. It was like a librarian was like, these are so good. And then once the movies came out in high school, like that's when people started getting really into them. But I don't think I remember anybody specifically in middle school when only the books were out. Because, like things get like a little bit of hype. And then once like something really shoots it up, everybody starts reading it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But
that started like my paranormal phase.
So what paranormal were you reading?
Oh, I've read like after Twilight, I read all of them, like the Vampire Academy, Vampire.
Oh my God, those are so good.
Oh my God, there was the PC Cast ones.
I never read those, but I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, I see them like when we went to McKay's, I saw them in the YA section. And I was like, I wonder if I'd like these. Like in that in that PC Cast series, in the third book in that series, this was like the first time like a open door, not sex scene, but like a sexy-ish scene was on there, and she was like out in the woods or something, not out in the woods but like around
in
the
YA book.
Yeah, it was like out in like the college school area, like in the woods at night, and like the hero I think like came on to her in like a good way or something like that. And I just remember they had like a sexy moment on the fence and I was like, what is this? I was like sophomore, and then by the time like I read all of, I used to have them. I gave them away because like when I moved to Florida, I was like, I'm done with these books. I don't need to keep them. And I gave away my like original Twilight stuff, like all of those. I gave them all away.
No.
Yep. I thought my mom kept them. She didn't. But like all of those books, I think I still had one or two that I may have kept.
Like my originals are up there.
Yeah.
Yellowed, but they're up there.
Yep. No, mine were very worn. I used to know like page number. I used to know like quotes on the page number. I reread them so many times. So funny.
My sister's the one who will like get really into fandoms, and so when Twilight was out, she was on all the forums and like knew all the behind the scenes on the movies. I was just a fan of the books, so I wasn't like
I was
hardcore.
A huge fan. Like I took the books to the midnight premieres and was like watching the movie.
We went to the midnight premieres with you brought the book?
Yeah, I was a big nerd. Yeah.
I would just go to the midnight premieres with my friends. We didn't do that.
Well, I went with my friends, like we all did, because we all loved the books.
Yeah. I don't think I even remember seeing anybody with their books. What would you do? Would you like try to follow along with the movie?
Like I just wanted to see like what quote
okay.
if that matched like a page number.
Okay.
I don't know.
In the movie theater. How would you even see that?
Like I don't
In the movie theater. How would you even see that?
like I don't remember if I actually did, but I did bring it with me. Like I have pictures
That's
of like
so funny. Yeah. I
I was a big fan.
Yeah.
And so like every year all of our friends went to like the midnight premiere, all the same like group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same with us. But I don't think we went to the last couple because by then we were like so over it.
Oh no, I did.
Did you? But I also think, I don't know if we were out of high school by then. I don't remember what years the last ones came out.
It was literally like freshman year was Twilight, sophomore year was
Okay,
New
so then
Moon
the
for
last
me.
one would have come out
Yeah,
when
like,
I was already in college, yeah.
Yeah, Breaking Dawn Part 2 I think came out when I was in college.
I remember not even watching that because people told me about how they changed it. And I was like, no.
It's interesting. I mean, I went
I'm
for
not going to.
I'm a big like person that I'll get wrapped up into hype books too. So like the next like big series, like it was my senior year of high school. I read 50 Shades. Loved that. Then I moved on to Sylvia Day, the Bear 2 series. My ride or die
I
series.
did love
that.
the Bear 2. Those were so much like better written than 50 Shades. Because I tried reading 50 Shades and I was like, if she says inner goddess one more time, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I feel like though, like 50 Shades for our generation is like what the Twisted series is for like high schoolers now, and like Icebreaker by Hannah Grace, where you're like, all these teenagers are picking up the like spicy adult romances, and that's what 50 Shades was for us when we were teenagers.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was when into college, like in my senior year and then into college is when I really started like super heavy spicy. I think that's when I got my Kindle Unlimited subscription.
Yeah.
Because I've had it for like 10 or 11 years.
Which is crazy. I wonder if you could go and look in your history and see like what the first few
I don't think
was.
it tells me that, but I think it tells me like the year. It was something with like the year. That's how I like, it's like, oh, I've had it for that long. Cool.
Oh, yeah. And well, I was reading mostly like what my age was as I was moving up through romance. So like, I mean, and I've been a huge reader like since I can remember reading. We would go to the library every weekend. I had a really good library where they always had every new release you could want, especially in the YA section. And I think we grew up at a time where YA was just like beginning to boom because we also had like Hunger Games, Divergent, like we just got everything, and Twilight. And so I primarily read romance. Like, did you ever read Sarah Dessen?
I think I tried one of her books, but that's not my
staple.
I think by then,
romance.
I think by then I wanted the more like adult stuff because I used to read. So this was in high school too. After I read Twilight, my parents wouldn't buy me books quick enough. Do you know what I mean? Like I would devour them so quickly. So if I went to the store with my mom every weekend, I would ask her for a new book, but I would read that in like 2 days. And I didn't really
go to the library.
Our libraries here aren't that great. So it wasn't like they had like school books like Catcher in the Rye and like those type of things. It wasn't like good stuff. Or if they did, they didn't advertise it. So it's not like I knew. Like at that point I was reading like fanfic on, not fanfic, but like people would write contemporary romances. Not Wattpad. Oh my God. What is the forum? It's similar to like AO3 and Wattpad, but it's like another one where people could post chapter by chapter. And sometimes I still log in to see the books that I was reading.
Sorry.
I swear to you, because some of those books, like there was one, it's called Full Court Press, and I don't remember the author name, okay? But that book was so fucking good, and I don't know where it went, and someone said that she took it down because she thought it was going to get published, but I literally haven't found it yet, and it's like, I still remember that book so much, and I loved it. Like, it was a basketball. He was like a broody hero, but he liked to like have kinky sex, and she had to tutor him, and she was by herself. Like, they were 17, 18, like they were like almost adults basically in high school, but
yeah.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Isn't it crazy? I still remember that.
I never got into like online writing. Like I never read Wattpad. I never did fanfic until now, and I never like did any of those forums. But I think it's because I just had so much access to books. Like I never ran out of things to read. It was because I
did not have access, so I was like, I need to find. Oh my God, there was another. Oh, I don't remember the name.
Are you gonna log into it right now?
I'm trying to find the website. Title.
While you find that.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
Okay. I read a lot of just contemporary YA romance. So there was like Sarah Dessen, Jennifer Eccles was one of my favorites. Oh my gosh, because I was reading, I still have a bunch, the Simon teen, like Simon Paul's romantic comedies. They're these little mass market paperbacks, and they always had like really bright illustrated covers. And I would just like go and look for the spines at the library and just pull them out. And then I ended up collecting some. And my favorite was about a girl who was in love with her best friend's brother, and her best friend was a guy, and ended up fake dating her best friend to get with the brother. But she ends up falling with the best friend because he's had a crush on her the whole time. Literally, I would read that like over and over and over again. I was obsessed. So she had a bunch that she wrote that I was obsessed with. And then Lorraine Heath actually wrote as something Hawthorne. Was that her?
I
don't
remember
the
you
first
saying
name.
this.
Rachel Hawthorne. Yeah. And I was reading her books as a teenager, and they were so good. And I have a bunch of them that are the little mass markets. And then Meg Cabot's Mediator series with the ghost Jessie. Obsessed with those. But like as long as it had romance in it, I was obsessed. Like Simone Alcalez, guys were in a gang, and like the girls were all like these good girls in high school, and it was their romances with these brothers, and it was really fun, and I was obsessed with that series. And then Katie McGarry had a YA motorcycle romance series that I was obsessed with too. So did you find it?
Okay, so I logged on. It's called fictionpress.com. It's basically like another archive of our own. Guess what? Guess the author I was reading that published on here.
Is she a published author?
Sam Mariano.
No way.
Because of You by Sam Mariano. That was updated October 27, 2014, but I added it to my favorite stories, November 24th of 2010. And then
you were reading Sam Mariano's fan, like not fanfic, but just like online works.
Well, sometimes the their like author name is like, random stuff. Oh my gosh. That's actually crazy.
You've been reading Sam Mariano for 14 years.
I'm the real
Number
fan,
one.
okay?
That is crazy.
Okay, so that's my favorite stories. Now, followed stories is, oh my God.
This is like a walk down memory lane for you.
This is so crazy. Oh, I remember some of these stories, and it's honestly crazy because they haven't been updated, but.
I know. I wonder if anybody publishes on the website still.
Oh, Healing Scars. That was a good one. I don't know if that one's published or not, but y'all, I could like sometimes I do go back because I'm like, what the heck? But it was Fiction Press. That's what's the name. Oh, some good ones were on there, man. I still remember some of those stories.
I love that.
That was how I got
and those
into
were
like
free.
Super angsty. That's where I found that I love super angsty because people love like the toxic because they write chapter by chapter. So you're reading it chapter by chapter.
That would drive me nuts.
I would get literally like notifications in the morning because people would post at like 3 a.m. So I would wake up and I'd read it before like I got up. I'm like letting my inner like geek come out.
That is so funny though.
See, I never read like Meg Cabot, like the Confessions of a Shopaholic. Like I know those were kind of like those style. I never read them. I wanted to, but like I tried. I'm like, it's not really for me. It's like once you go to like 50 Shades and beyond, it's like you can't go back to
that's fair.
Like normal, like sweet.
Yeah, that's what I was reading. All the just super cute YA romances. And I would always skip to the back of the book to see who the actual couple was before I started. And then I would like start at the beginning, like, okay, I know who to look out for. And I know they end up together. Even though it was a romance and I knew they would end up together, I would do that. I was also reading Cassandra Clare, the Mortal Instruments. I remember because I always like to read, and I like freshman year of high school, I would read at the lunch table. I don't know if I told you that. I think I did.
I would read at lunch too. I would go in the library.
I was like, people are boring. Like, I don't want to sit here for 30 minutes and talk to you. I want to like read my book. And so I remember sophomore year of high school, I was on like a tournament for softball, and like, you know me, I wake up early and you had to share a room with people. And I had one of the new Mortal Instruments books, and I was so excited. I got up early and read in the bathroom, and everybody else was asleep, and I was just like reading my book. And it was so good though. The series was so good, and it's cool to see things like really blow up after. And I feel like Mortal Instruments 2 is kind of having like a little bit of a resurgence. I've seen a lot of people on TikTok discover it, which is really exciting.
I think it's because she just published Chain of Gold, which is like this, I think it's like a spinoff of the original Mortal Instruments, because I read the first like 3 books in that series, and then they were coming out and I never kept up with them. So I never continued. But like that one, the Hunger Games, the Divergent series series really fucked me up, because like if you're a romance reader, you expect certain things and a certain character dies.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I was distraught. I was distraught.
Yeah.
Are you looking at your shelves?
Yeah, I have my all-time favorites I still have. Because I would like ask my parents to buy me books all the time. Because I'd just be like, I vividly remember I was like a young child. I was like, I don't know, like 7. And I cried in a Barnes & Noble because I hadn't picked out a book yet. My parents were like, okay, let's go. And I was like, I haven't picked out a book yet. Like, I need my book. And so they let me pick out a book. I loved books.
See,
Yeah.
we didn't have a Barnes & Noble. We did, but there was I'm Not a Million, which is like cheaper than Barnes & Noble. So I'd always ask my mom to go there. But literally, I would get my ass up early just to go to I'm not an early riser, but like I would go to the grocery store with her just so I could pick out a book. Just because she'd let me go like roam the book section of Walmart to go pick out a book.
Aww.
And I would like look at the magazines too because I loved like the girly magazines, like the
oh my god, all of the teen magazines.
Those, yeah.
Yeah, I loved those because they always had posters of my favorite people, and I would just put them up all over my walls.
Yes, like I would look through to make sure it had things that I wanted to like bring home.
Yeah. Or like Teen Beat and like, weren't those what those were called?
I think so.
But
I loved keeping up with like the gossip because I watched a lot of like teenage shows like oh my god, what is the pregnant one?
Oh my god, no. What, the 16 and Pregnant? Is that what those were called?
No, it wasn't reality. It was like a TV show.
Oh, The Secret Life of the American Teenager. You did not love that show.
Oh, I absolutely loved
that show.
I loved it.
No.
I read those type. But that was also around the time of Vampire Diaries, and I was watching Vampire Diaries too.
Because I was watching Vampire Diaries. And then I went to college, and they didn't have the CW, and I couldn't watch it anymore, and I was so mad. Yeah. Life before streaming was very hard.
Yeah. I would have to record it at my parents'.
Yeah.
Like, I lived with my parents, but, like, record it because I wasn't home. Mm-hmm. And then go back and watch it.
But, like, I remember vampires being huge in high school because Vampire Academy was so good. And then there was those, like, Blue Bloods. I didn't end up reading those.
Melissa De La Cruz, read those.
Yeah. And then Twilight. And then I read Rachel Hawthorne had a werewolf series that I was obsessed with. That was so good. So
this was like
Paranormal was where it was at.
This was before I had Goodreads, so I don't want to.
I would write down, and I had like a tracker of every book I read and how many pages I read, and then I would total it up at the end of every month of how many pages I had read, and I kept that all through high school. Before Goodreads,
recognize the covers. Like I'll go to McKay's or like a used bookstore.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't read those.
And I figured out later she's my favorite historical romance author. So, and then in college, did you ever get into the like new adult craze that started?
Like name
so
a
like
book.
when Colleen Hoover?
No. By then I think in college I was specifically reading on Kindle Unlimited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because did you only do it on your phone?
Yeah. I didn't have a Kindle.
Because I had a Nook.
Oh, no. I didn't have a Kindle until I moved to Florida. So that was late 2016, early 2017. And Brennan bought me a Kindle because I was reading so much. He was like, here, this will help you with your eyes and you don't have to hold your phone weird. Yeah.
Yeah. And because I was reading Colleen Hoover and like Samantha Young, Abby Glines. That was when Jamie McGuire was really big, which... she's a whole other story. But
I did read her previously, like when those books were a big thing. I remember reading those.
So, and I feel like publishing kind of like what was big in publishing followed me as I was growing up because like YA was super big when I was like young adult. And then when I was in college, new adult age, like all these new adult books were coming out. So it was really cool to have that.
So I started college in 2012 and then by 2016 is when I graduated. And Luchin by Bethany Chris. That's usually how I go by because I'm a huge Bethany Chris fan. Like I told you guys I worked for her. So I read Luchin. I don't know how she pronounces it. Luchin. People pronounce it different. Anyway, that book is like the first book in one of her Mafia series. And that's when like I really was like, I fucking love that book. And all of her books were on Kindle Unlimited. And I have like a BookBub account that they would send me free books, like what was free on Amazon. And that's how I would, because like I didn't have money to spend like on books, like paperbacks. No. That was a no. I don't remember like besides the ones my parents bought, I never bought paperbacks until this.
I can look at you now.
Look at me now.
But I mean, I think that's what a lot of people today are like who aren't super in the book community and like have all these shelves. Like they literally like BookBub is huge because people just like get a newsletter and they tell you, okay, this is free right now. And then that's how they read.
Yeah. Or like 99 cents or $1.99. $4 is like perfect.
Yeah. Or just primarily a KU reader. So they just like get everything from KU and they're just like, they aren't on social media. They're just reading. But I'm like, how do you even find books? Like that would be so daunting.
I would literally filter on Kindle Unlimited, go to romance, and I would pick like a subgenre of romance because you can filter by that in romance. And I'd filter by release date. And every Tuesday I would refresh and download my 10 books that were new, that were interesting.
Ooh. So just as a casual reader, that books were coming out on Tuesdays.
Yes, Monday or Tuesdays. That's when I would usually do it. Bethany did Mondays, but a lot of people did Tuesdays. Not many people did Thursday or Fridays, but a lot of people did Monday, Tuesdays.
Well, because trad publishing, it's always Tuesdays, typically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
No. Oh, that's when I was starting to have like a Goodreads too. So like I could go back to my books and like filter by like oldest. I don't know if I can let me do it on my phone.
I started rating books on Goodreads in 2011. So I've had a Goodreads account for a very long time.
My Goodreads says I've read 1,800 books. So I don't know. Let me look what year.
That's a lot.
I'm like,
I feel like this is like a staple in people's romance journeys. Did you ever read Nicholas Sparks?
Yes.
I did. Like that was one of the first adult romances I was getting into too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like
I loved his books.
The Last Song.
Yes.
The movie. I think that's what got me into Nicholas Sparks is because I love Miley and I followed Miley. And when she played in that movie, I was like, I have to read this book.
That was so good. But I think he actually wrote it knowing that she was going to be in the movie. Like I think the rights had already been sold before that. But I remember wanting to read like The Notebook and A Walk to Remember. And then I was like literally like The Last Song, everything he wrote. I was like, but also those were a lot of times super cheap at half price books, which I would go to all the time. And so I was easy to buy.
I don't know when I read this book, but I read a book by M.J. Fields that came out in 2013. Like I read C.D. Reese, like older C.D. Reese books, Carly Phillips.
Carly Phillips. Did you read C.D. Reese's baseball one?
No, I don't think so. Suzanne Steele, Kristen Mayer, Amity Cross. I remember her. She wrote MMA. I read that Corinne Michaels duet. You know, the one that wrecks everyone? That's like a love triangle. She has a love triangle one.
Yeah.
I read that one. When did I read Cora Riley? 2015. Terry Ann Browning. She was a popular one back then. That was when LJ Shin was like up and coming too, and I read her. Mm-hmm. Piper Lawson. Learning. Oh, apparently I've read Piper Lawson. I did write reviews. I was really excited to read this book because the description, but the summary of the novel is better than the book in my opinion. I'm not gonna tell you which one that was, but
Rachel Kane. Did you ever read her Morganville Vampire series?
No.
Oh, those were really good. I read those back when I was so my beginning is literally Twilight, Nicholas Sparks, Vampire Academy. Alison Noel wrote Evermore, which was a paranormal.
I did read that one.
God, that was so good. Lauren Kate wrote Fallen, which was it was an angel romance. That was so good. And then like all these Nicholas Sparks. That's all I was reading. Oh, and then I do remember my first like spicy romance was paranormal. And I think it was because of Twilight. Oh my gosh, I was not prepared for those. It's Fangs for the Memories by Kathy Love. They were real good. I read the whole series, and then I read her other series too. Yeah, she had a New Orleans vampire series that I was reading. And like Casey West was writing.
It's so interesting to go back and see. Like I read KK Allen before like I was on Bookstagram.
Yeah, because of her dance one, right?
Yep. That's why everyone's like, you read that one? And I was like, that is such a good book.
Did you read The Host?
No, I didn't read that.
Oh my God, it was so good. And she never wrote a sequel, and I was so sad.
I think it's because people said that there wasn't a sequel. I have so many Bethany Chris. Like I've read literally all of her books up until like recently.
I also started reading Rochelle Mead's adult paranormal, Succubus Blues.
Oh no, I don't know.
Yeah.
I didn't read that one. Oh my God, it's hilarious to look back at, actually.
Okay, so I don't know, since you didn't like to read, I was obsessed with the Click series when I was young. Did you ever read those?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
They were so good. There was also the Private series by Kate Bryan about these girls in boarding school that I was also obsessed with.
My first like that kind of new adult was I think Erin Watt, The Paper Princess. That was fucking
No, these
wild.
were not. These were like middle grade.
Oh.
They were not those.
Oh no. That was
I was
first
reading
time.
these in middle school.
Oh no.
No. I did love the Erin Watt books though. Those were really good. Very dramatic.
I've had Goodreads since 2017 technically. So that's in 2017 I read like J.L. Berg, Adriana Locke. There's a grape scene in one of her books. I was like, what the fuck? So I don't even Nikki Sloan, her Blindfold Club series. That's when I read Under Lock by Marietta Zapata.
What year was this?
2017.
Oh, okay. I'm still making my way through all the YA books I was reading. There are so
I don't
many.
have any of that. Like I just never used Goodreads, so.
Suzanne Colasanti was so good for YA. I do have like there's some that I picked up like there's Curveball. It's a baseball romance. Oh my gosh, that was so good. But I would find these at the library. I would just like peruse. I could literally spend like 2 hours in the library and not get bored. And my mom would just spend the time looking too.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of wish I read more YA, but at the same time I was like, I just like jumped right into the deep end. But also like when you read online stuff, it's not censored.
Yeah.
So like I was a sophomore, a junior reading this stuff that's like full on adult romance.
Yeah.
So I made a comment. This is going to be like so weird to my dad one time. He was like, you've been reading for a while. I forgot. It was at a family dinner. We have family dinner every night. Brandon was sitting there like by this time I'm married, like we're all good, right? I turned to my dad and I said, reading has taught me a lot of things. He's like, has it? I said, yeah, it taught me how to give a blowjob. And he like stopped. He's like, I don't want to know that. I was like, that's
you
the
should
kind of
not tell that to your parents.
Well, you met my parents, so
yeah, I know.
Like that's how we
not
joke.
Tell that to your parents.
But yeah, I mean that's true though. Like I didn't know anything about that. They don't teach you that in sex education in school. So I had to learn somewhere. Sophomore, junior, that's what I learned.
From 50 Shades of Grey.
Not 50 Shades. It was like other types of books. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, junior, senior, I guess you could say. That was when
I was like freshman year.
No, that was when Twilight. Like I used to leave my window open because I was on the second
no,
story.
You didn't.
Like,
no, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Oh my! I never did that.
I just want a vampire to come into my room. Of course, we had screens on the roof, so it's like, or screens on the windows. But like, if I could have climbed out the window and just sat there like that person, like New Moon soundtrack going in the background, I would have done it. But like, I physically can't get out of my window.
And I thought I was a fan of Twilight.
Oh no,
I did not do that.
Hardcore. I was also a hardcore fan of 50 Shades. So when the movie was coming out, all the movies, Brandon went and seen them with me. That was like my Valentine's Day present. I was like, one, you can't talk shit. And two, you have to go see this movie with me.
And act like you've been watching me sleep.
Yeah. He's had to deal. If I'm like getting sassy or like picking fights, he's like, what fucking book did you read? Like what book set this off? Like what? He'll ask me that all the time. I don't think I've ever told you that.
No. Like
or
even
if I have,
way before, like when you started dating?
Yeah. No. Like when we were like younger and even now, like the whole 12 years, 13 years of our relationship. God. Or like if I ask some stupid ass question, like what would you do like if I died? Or like what would you do if I was like kidnapped? He's like, what book are you reading? Where did this come from? Do you want me to answer as Brandon or do you want me to answer as like what would these people in the books do?
Boyfriend.
I have Brandon's the best. Like he can be a lot, but he's the best.
He's had to put up with you for a long time.
Yes. You've only had to put up with me for what, like 2 years now? And you're probably like, I'm over it.
No, I think that's funny though.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Did you ever read Jennifer Armentrout early on in her career?
Nope.
Her Obsidian series.
I know a lot of people talk about that, but no, I never read
so
those.
Good. I never finished it, but I remember loving the first few books in that series.
Lisa Renee Jones. She was also an adult romance author that I read pretty early on.
I feel like there's a lot of authors that have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And also authors that like used to be huge that really aren't as big anymore.
Winter Renshaw. Do you remember her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I read her then.
I think she's still writing.
She is, but they're not like Mandy Beck. She's not like huge, but she was.
Yeah.
Some of these authors, like I wonder if they're still writing. Victoria Quinn. Did you ever read those books? That was like the first indie published book paperback that like I bought myself.
I have no idea who that is.
It's the Obsidian series. It reminded me of 50 Shades. Also, Facebook ads used to get me. So if I didn't know what to read, sometimes like Facebook ads would just come up and I would like find it on Amazon and see if it's in Kindle Unlimited.
Really?
Yeah. And that's how I found this series.
So this cover is familiar because they were marketing everything to look like 50 Shades.
Yes.
So it was like,
yes,
let's do the object like Sylvia Day. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, Maya Banks. Did you read her? You did, right?
I did read her
Fever,
contemporary stuff.
Rush.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were so good. I mean, they're just like, and I feel like Billionaire never goes away because those were billionaire romances. And I feel like that's still super huge.
Oh, Sarah Castile. Do you remember her?
Yeah. Didn't she write MMA?
She wrote some. In 2017, I read 159 books.
Oh, wow.
2018, I read 131.
That's also when I was getting into like dark mafia motorcycle stuff because that's when I was reading like Katie Ashley wrote Motorcycle Romances. Her were my first ones. And then that's when I discovered Gianna and I was reading The Fallen Men because I found The Fallen Men when there were only 2 books out.
That's crazy.
So I was like super into all of those darker romances too. And they were so good.
I was reading like JJ McAvoy, her Ruthless People Mafia series. That's wild.
I only read the first one because the heroine was annoying. I was like, this is annoying.
The whole thing gets wild, but like that series is crazy. Some of like the most unhinged books I've read like 2017, 2018, and I still remember them.
I also was reading like super angsty stuff. So like that's when I discovered Candy Steiner too. And I was reading like A Love Letter to Whiskey. And I mean, she's gone very far away from what she used to write. Yeah. But I was obsessed.
Yeah. No, there's a lot that's like, I feel bad for those older authors that have been around for so long. I'm like, now I want you to have like a comeback. I'm like, I need you to.
Well, that's what was her name that wrote the J. Sterling? How she was like, when this came out, it was like so like everybody was reading it. It was so hyped. It was my bestseller. And then she's like, but nobody's like reading it anymore. And like her books never did as well as that one did. So it's just interesting.
Yeah.
No, but it's also what's the trend right now. Because like when she published, it was like indie new adult was like the thing. So
indie new adult like sports stuff.
Yeah.
I remember, I don't know if it was like a fan written, like, no, I don't want to call them fanfic, but just like on Fiction Press or Archive. There was it was a football romance and it was like a love triangle between her best friend and the like main football quarterback.
Oh my God, that sounds amazing.
And like there was like all of these moments where like, you know, he got really popular and she went with him, but she was still in love with like her best friend. And at some point, like the football player started abusing her. And it got I still remember this. I don't know the title of this book. Like I remember, listen, I could tell you the whole plot of Full Court Press right now. Like I'm going back to that series because I've reread it so many times and I'm so sad. Like I would reread it right now. But one, I don't remember the author. 2, I don't know if it was ever published. Like actually published, and if she published it under a different name. But it's like, so if you know what I'm talking about, like she lives like they live in like a snowy small town, and like she has a Jeep, and she's like the new person in town. She goes to high school, and he's like super broody. Oh my God, he had dyslexia, so like she helps him with dyslexia, like and reading and like doing all of his like. I don't think it was the dyslexia with letters. It's the other one. I can't remember with numbers. Because he was having trouble with numbers, but he was a basketball person and he wanted to coach, but he was like wanting to go into college and try to. He's like a spreader bar, like a spreader thing, and like he had like a closet full of kinky shit, and she's like, "Oh, I like this," and I'm like, "I like this. What is wrong with me?" It was great.
We had such different
taste
journeys, not taste, but like journeys towards romance.
Oh, yeah. I jumped right in, but that's how my life has gone. Like if I'm gonna do something or if I like something, I jump right in.
But it's also just interesting how like our difference in like availability of books influenced what we were reading, because like you jumped from, because I just like had the library, I could read whatever I want, it was a great library. You had online, and like there's a lot online. So you started with your fiction websites and then went into Kindle Unlimited, and I didn't need Kindle Unlimited until, I mean, I had a Nook and they didn't have Kindle Unlimited. I was getting
I think I was paying,
but
I think I had Kindle Unlimited when it was like $6.99 a month.
Oh my God. You've had it for a long time.
I've had it for a very, very long time. Yes.
I don't remember when I got it. I don't even know if I was reading Kindle Unlimited in college. I think I had gotten it in when I was like an adult out of college.
Yeah. But it's also really weird too, because I remember when we lived in Florida, because like that's when I really had to learn how to budget. Like me and Brandon were first living in our first apartment, like our studio, 600 square foot apartment with me, Brandon, all of our shit, and Miko. It was a disaster.
That would
like
be so
oh my
horrible.
God. We did move into a 2-bedroom, but like our budget was really tight because like I was only working and Brandon doubled up on classes, so he couldn't really work like at all. And so like our budget was super tight. And I remember spending $3.99 on a book every single week was like my treat that like I did. Like that was the one thing I got for myself. And if I can make that $3.99 last for 3 books, like 99 cents each, even better. But that's what I used BookBub for. Like I got emails all the time. It's crazy.
There I was reading my YA romances.
In 2017?
No, I'm thinking back like high school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you gave me like a series name or like showed me a cover of those older paranormals, like after Twilight, like I literally went through so many of them because I was like, I need more stuff like Twilight. So I went from like vampires to werewolves.
Yeah.
And then, there was a time what year was that? So like I was really into K-pop in college. Like that, I took Korean, like I basically have a Korean minor. They just didn't have it like finished by the time I graduated, but I took all the classes. And I remember that like I wanted to read about those characters, and that's when I discovered fanfic.
Oh, they wrote fanfic about
K-pop people, like
people?
BTS and EXO, like all of those people. And that's how I figured out what Omegaverse was, because people loved shipping certain it's like the way that I've discovered things is mostly by Googling or asking Brandon. I'm like, oh, what is a Jacob's Ladder? And he's like, where the fuck did you hear that from? Like me being 19 years old asking these questions. It was another thing I asked him. I don't know. It was like some sexual term. And he was like, why are you asking that? Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. Making me tear up. It was funny. I was laughing so hard. It was a good episode. I mean, I don't know if you expected this as our romance journey, but
I did not expect that from you either. I don't think you ever told me any of that.
Well, it's like a 30-minute conversation, 43 minutes that we've been talking. So, yeah.
Look at you.
My journey is wild. I have a lot of like
finding all those things online.
Oh, now I want to go and read them.
Did you like mark them as read on Goodreads or no?
No. That was before I had Goodreads.
Okay.
That was like 2014, 2013. But also a lot of those books had a lot of mental health rep, which is something I really loved now.
Yeah.
So like they dealt with anxiety, but it was before I even had anxiety or really knew what it was. It's kind of like the Laura Lynn Page series I always talk about, the Fix series. It was like that was one of the first like published books where it was like mental health rep was a big thing, but it wasn't like labeled as that. Like you didn't know until you started reading it.
Yeah.
So that's why I like that, and I like the Bear to You series because they both like go to therapy, they talk about it, it's a big part of their relationship throughout the series. So yeah, I think that's also like interesting how like what I gravitated towards of what I liked versus what it's angsty, toxic, messy. That was our reading journeys.
Yeah. How fun.
Yeah. That was interesting. I hope you guys enjoyed.
Yeah.
If you're on Spotify or Apple, leave us a rating. Tell us what you thought. It was a wild one. I'm so sorry. What is the emoji? What kind of emoji?
Or vampire emoji? We can do vampire emoji.
Yeah, there's like the Dracula emoji.
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah.
Vampires. Wanting to climb through Tori's window. I can't believe you would do that.
No, I so did. Oh my God.
Oh my God. Okay.
No, okay, you can't bring that up constantly now, okay?
Okay. Yep.
Or
okay, is that it?
I would go like walk around my neighborhood, like with my hood up, all like new moon, like new moon emotional. You know what I'm talking about?
Where it like rotates around her every season.
Like that mood was when sophomore year. I had like black clothes, hood up, like walk around like I'm all like sad and emotional. Oh man. Okay. That's all. Okay. That's all we have for this episode.
Okay. Sorry. Before Tori embarrassed herself even more. Thank you so much for listening. We hope you enjoyed our Bookish Life, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Cannot believe you.